This podcast has been brought to you by thethriving-startup.com. Hello and welcome to the Thriving Startup Podcast, the podcast that helps aspiring entrepreneurs just like you to start, grow and thrive in business. On today's episode, I am joined by a business owner who has got an accountancy firm, and she's passionate about helping startup businesses and SME businesses. I'm very pleased to introduce you to Carol Phillips. Carol, hello and welcome to the Thriving Startup Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me on. I'm excited to have a chat with you.
Oh, well, thank you ever so much for being here. There's lots to dive into with all things relating to finance and accountancy. So to get started then, Carol, can you just share a little bit of background about GetLogical, please?
Yeah, GetLogical is an accounting practice, but with a slight difference. We do all of your traditional accounting work like bookkeeping and year-end work, but I specialise in internal business finances. So that just means I'm delving into the inner workings of the business. So it's systems and processes and reporting and making sure that the people making decisions actually understand what the finances are telling them so they can make better decisions and learn from mistakes and learn from things that happen and actually steer the business forward as opposed to just letting it drag you.
So would you class yourself then as an integral partner then?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all about partnership. I learn a lot about the people that are working with the businesses, and I understand where they're trying to take the business. So it's about helping them make the right decisions. So I can mold my reporting and I can mold all of the work that I do specifically for them. And I know what they're trying to do. I can show them how it's possible and the things that are stopping it from happening. So it's very much a partnership.
Yeah. The partnerships with your accountant are very important. From personal experience, you have some good ones, you have some bad ones, but you need to really find the good accountants that you can partner up with because they're just worth the weight in gold. You need to find partners as well who care about the business, they care about your mission, and they want to work with you to work towards that goal to grow your business.
That's right, they do, and it's one of the ways I pick my clients, and my clients pick me, is because I really can get behind what they're trying to do. And if I can't, I find it difficult to sort of really get behind it. So I will always pick a client that I can really, really understand and really help. I get into the business.
So how long has GetLogical been going for?
GetLogical's been going for almost 3 years.
Brilliant.
I did have some work in a similar way going on beforehand, but I kind of made a lot of mistakes and figured out exactly what I was trying to do beforehand, and then GetLogical was formed, and it was, full steam ahead on doing things the way I wanted to do them.
So those mistakes then, can we just talk a little bit more about that? What were they?
It's not necessarily mistakes. There were things that I didn't do how I wanted. So I was doing some freelance work for another accountant, which was brilliant. It was a great experience because I'd never worked for an accountancy practice before. My history is in industry. So I've always worked within a business and been part of a finance team, which is also where GetLogical is slightly different to a lot of traditional accounting firms. So I've seen a business from the inside. I've worked in it. But the mistakes were more just ways that other people worked that I thought, actually, I don't like that. I'm doing it because it's said to be the way to do it, but actually that's not how I want to do things. And so those things just over time became, hey, I'm going to do this my way. This is the way I'm going to do it. It's full of integrity. It's very much me, and people I work with get me. This is it. What you see is what you get. There's nothing hidden. Our meetings are very casual. They're very honest, but that's the way I see it. That's me. That's how I work.
So what type of clients do you work with, Carol?
I work with SMEs. I work a lot with family businesses. I grew up in a family business, so I understand it. I work a lot with businesses going through some sort of transition and transformation. So that might be a generational shift, from one generation passing down to another. It could be transitioning from paper to digital. implementing
Mhm.
systems, and you often get a lot of people that don't like change.
Yeah.
And I'm very good with working with those people because I can help them see the way through. It's not hand holding, but it's at their pace, and I
Mhm.
understand where they're coming from. I understand why they have issues, and so it's just about working with the person and figuring out how they want to do things and how best to almost push them ever so slightly outside their comfort zone so that they can get to where they want to be,
Yeah.
not by forcing them through it.
Yeah. So if you've got a prospect that's lined up and they wanted to start working with you and you've got that introductory meeting,
Yeah.
how is that structured, and what kind of questions do you ask to try and get a feel for that particular potential client?
It's not structured, really. I mean, I have a few things that I want to get out of the meeting in terms of, I might need a key piece of data or a code or something like that. But other than that, it's just a conversation. For anyone looking
Yeah.
in, will probably think it's really unprofessional, but it's just a conversation. I mean,
Yeah.
I had one not too long ago, and lovely, lovely family. It was a father and daughter, sorry. And,
Yeah.
10 minutes into the conversation, we're talking about his new house and where he's moved to and what his daughter wants to do. And it completely unrelated as far as they're concerned to business, but
Yeah.
it gives me exactly what I need. It gives me a feel for the people I'm working with, and it gives me exactly what it is they're trying to get out of the business. So I just have a conversation with them, and it goes in all directions. It happens
Yeah.
with existing clients and with potential clients. And he stopped himself twice in that meeting and said, "Oh, sorry, you don't care about this." And I was like, "No, I do. This is exactly what it's all about. This is what working with me is. We just get to know each other, and from that I can understand how I can help." I mean, I had an existing client come for some training about a month ago, and I
Mhm.
thought a couple of hours worth of training on a new piece of software, and he was here for 5 hours, and we
Wow.
talked about all sorts. But
Yeah.
now I know exactly what I need to do. I know exactly
Yeah.
how I can help him. And so every report I will create from now on will be structured based on conversations we had in just a casual chat. So it's all about the people and just those honest relationships and conversations.
Yeah. It sounds like you're a pro in incognito fact finding.
I don't even mean to. I think I've realised now I can learn a lot from just, a little conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, I didn't know that before. But it's only when you start having those conversations that people will say something that they didn't even realise mattered. And I
Yes.
can go, that's the key. That's the key to why this is happening. And yeah, it's gold. Those conversations are gold.
I totally agree. The more casual, the more
Yeah.
informal kind of that you can make it. People are a lot more relaxed, aren't they? The
Yeah.
conversations just flow naturally, and the information that people will share with you, whether it's intentionally or not,
Yeah.
there's a little bit of magic in that. If you can
Yeah.
draw more out of people. My partner's just an absolute pro at that. I'll start talking to him about something, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know how he's managed to get that out of me, but he has.
Can read you well.
Yes, incredibly well. So, for anybody who's looking to work with an accountant, so whether they've just started the business, when is
Yeah.
the best time to work with an accountant, and why should you work with an accountant?
As early as possible. And I know I would say that being an accountant, but
Yeah.
as early as possible, because you can it's not just about the tax. That's the
Mhm.
issue that I think a lot of people that I face a lot. People see their finances as tax, and there is the 1st of January deadline, or there's their limited company deadline. That is all they see. And that
Yeah.
is just not what it's about. A tax is the thing you have to do, and I get it. But the bit that's important and the bit that actually helps you grow the business is not even the bookkeeping, it's what the bookkeeping does for the business. People see bookkeeping, people see tax, and they miss out the value in the middle. And the value in the middle is what that receipt told us and what that invoice you sent out to a customer told us. So the quicker you can get some sort of system set up where you are automatically putting through your receipts and your invoices, the easier it is. It's better for the end of year because it's going to cost less because it's nice and tidy and it's not just a bunch of receipts in a carrier bag, but also you can take value from it. I mean, you can read so much from your accounts. It is what grows a business.
Mhm.
It's what sinks a business, and it's what grows a business. It just depends how you decide to to look at your numbers. So I would say right from the beginning, if you can, if you're already past that, as soon as you possibly can. And it's nowhere near as difficult as everyone expects it to be. I have people say to me all the time, oh, now I've done it, I wish I'd done it sooner. But unless you just step over that threshold, you're never going to find it out. And it saves time, because so often people are out there creating an invoice template in Word or Excel, and they're manually typing all the information in, and then they're sending it out on an email, and then they're chasing it, maybe, often not. And actually, if you spend really not a lot of money, you can set up something like QuickBooks and it just does it all for you. It sets reminders. There's so many useful things it does, and it saves so much time. So there's loads of little tips I could throw out there for startups when it comes to finance, but it's definitely start quickly. Start straight away. It's not as difficult. And if nothing else, you pick up the phone to speak to a local accountant, because you should be able to have a conversation with an accountant, and they will help you through that very early bit of, guess what, you could just do this.
And that's a good way of fleshing out, just to put the feelers out to see if you're speaking to a good potential accounting partner in the very, very early stages or not. Because if you are calling them and you're asking for help, if they're a little bit vague or a little bit dismissive, then you know right off the bat that they're not the right partner for you, because you need somebody who is willing to hold your hand, give you the support right from the very beginning, to instill a greater sense of confidence and to not fear the finances or the whole process. Whenever I've started a business, so I've had 4 limited companies now, from the date that they are incorporated. So I'll go into company's house, register the business. Within a month, I will speak to an accountant and just say to them, FYI, my name's Charlotte. I've just started this business. This is the limited company name. This is the company number. I would very much like to either have a conversation with you, or if I've already got a previous relationship with them, I'd say to them, I'd like to instruct you to be the accountant now for this business. And the natural progression of that conversation will be that the accountant will say, okay, are you looking, like after we've had the initial introductory call or meeting in person, they will then discuss the costs. So would you like to pay on a monthly basis, or would you like to pay as one invoice? And I always say to them, can you please send just one bulk invoice that I can pay at the end of the financial year? And the reason why I'm sharing this is because so many startups avoid instructing an accountant in the very early days because they fear the costs that are up front. And a lot of the time, if you would like the full invoice basis, that invoice isn't payable until they've done the work at the end of the year end anyway.
Yeah, a lot of people will send the invoice out, or they can send it out early, but a lot of people will just ask that it's paid before it gets filed.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of people do it in so many different ways. You just have to ask the question, like you say. But there seems to be a fear around accountants.
Yeah, I agree.
The traditional person across the table that you are scared to ask questions to because you're going to feel stupid and they're going to make you feel inferior. They are still out there, of course they are. But what I would say to whoever is thinking that's the image of an accountant is they're not all like that.
Yeah.
And if they're like that, move on, find another one. You can shop around, you've got to find the one who you can talk to and you don't feel stupid in front of. And that itself is worth paying for.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, there are accountants out there that work with startups, and they have packages specifically for startups, knowing that it's just a small amount of transactions at the beginning and they'll get a feel for where you're at and they will guide you through the process. But yeah, the actual bulk of the tax returns and that sort of thing, it's all done after the end of the first year. It's just the setup that happens before then. So yeah, you just got to ask the questions and find the one you feel comfortable talking to.
Yeah, the one that you feel most at ease with and you're having confidence in, definitely.
Yeah, people have come to me before because they've got their year-end accountant and they will ask me loads of questions because they know they can just talk to me and have a conversation.
It's value is what you said earlier. And I know you were talking about it in terms of the actual the reporting side. But the value in your relationship with your accountant, it's one of the most important partnerships in your business, in terms of external partners anyway. They are worth their weight in gold. And for you to have an extension just at the other end of the phone for you to just say, oh, this opportunity's come up, or I've got this expense that I need to put through, or I'm a little bit hesitant on what the profit figures are telling me in this report. Can you please help me? If you have a partner who can say, yes, no problem at all, and take the time to almost hold your hand with it in a non-patronising way. But for you just to feel, God, the relief, oh, I didn't know that before, and now I do know that. So I know what to look for going forward.
Yeah, I've got a client at the moment who they've been running for about 2 years, completely on their own. Really, they were let down by an accountant, which was sad for them. But it's actually forced them to look elsewhere because the relationship didn't go well. But my minimum package includes a quarterly check-in, so that could just be a half an hour phone call, a 6-month review before year-end review, and then all of the compliance work. That's kind of my minimum package, plus it's software that allows them to get started. But with this particular client, because she's not confident and she has been knocked before, is we've pre-booked in all of those quarterly calls. So she now knows, and she's got a slot in her diary where she knows if she's got any queries along the way, she can, I mean, she'll phone me anytime if she wants, but she's got now a dedicated time that she knows she can go decompress and throw a load of things at me. So that's like my minimum, because you need to have that ability to ask questions.
That's very rare as a service offering from a typical accountant, Carol. That's fantastic, because there's a lot of accountancy firms out there. I'm not saying that it's wrong, but their only point of contact will be when it's time to file those accounts, or it's time to do the self-assessments, and they'll go, can you send me the information, please? And that's it.
And I have there's several different types of accountant, and there are different accountants for different services. So you have got your year end, who is just that one point of contact, get the tax return filed, and that's it. But I'm an internal. Like I said, I worked in industry before, so I love the inner workings of a business. So to me, that's where I add the most value. But I have fallen into the trap of taking on a client where all I'm doing is year end. And it was last year where I said, absolutely not. Like, that is not what I set this up for. I'm doing the thing I don't agree with. And so that's why I completely changed all of my packages and said, no, this is the minimum now. We have to have that, because if we're not doing what I set out to do, and that was to help people with their businesses. So that's why I changed what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I think it's a very good decision that you did do that, because the platform that you're now giving yourself is that you would repeatedly delight your clients. You're segregating yourself away from the typical accountant that gets, a bit of a bad rap. And I know from my own personal experience of meeting you in person and having conversations with you, from a client's point of view, it's like you're investing in one great big hug. That's how it would feel, because there's just something about you that immediately you just completely feel at ease. Like, I don't feel intimidated by what you're saying, what you're explaining. It's very clear, and you have a very high level of wanting to look after somebody and to make sure that person feels completely comfortable and confident in what it is that they've listened to and what they've learned. So,
Thank you.
and if you're aware of that, Carol, but there's your feedback.
I like that. I do. I mean, I work with clients I can really get behind. So much so, I'm doing one of my charity clients, I'm doing an Easter fair with selling all of their Easter goodies that
Brilliant.
their sort of craft group have put together, just because I want them to succeed. And I really do want these people to have what they set out to build. I do. I like helping people.
Yeah. The plans that you've got on the horizon to expand your services. So you've shared a package that's just in the background at the moment being built. So you've shared that it's called Launching Your Business, Your Rules. So what's that about?
So last year I launched Your Business, Your Rules, and that is exactly what I'm trying to show people that they can have. And it is about building that thing you want in a way you want, because we're all trying to build our businesses for a different reason. some people are trying to build it to have a legacy that they can then have their children take over and so on. Some people are just trying to make money so they can retire early. There's loads of different reasons. People want it to work around the kids. So there's no one size fits all in business as far as I'm concerned. There are some of your non-negotiables. There are, you must pay your tax and you must be legal. But in terms of how you run it and who you serve and how you serve them, that's completely up to you and it's completely your choice. So that's where the concept Your Business, Your Rules has come from. And I launched last year, the end of last year, with the course called Your Focus. And I had 2 cohorts. Accidentally, they were all accountants, but that was even better because they were trusting me to offer this course to them. And it's a full day of strategy. It's high level. We're not looking at their numbers. We're looking at what their ambitions are for the year to come and how do we break those down and actually make them happen. And we just had this week, we had our first quarterly accountability call. So I am holding them to account, and it's a group thing. So they are holding each other to account as well. It's great because not only do they get to work on their own business away from the day-to-day, they get to work on it rather than in it, but they also are able to give their own experiences and their own advice to the others in the room, and they can absorb advice from others around them who are also going through a similar stage, or they've been through it before. So it's really, really valuable, and the feedback's been brilliant. So yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it, and I've decided I've got lots in the Your Business, Your Rules coming up, but it'll probably be at the later part of this year and next year. But I'll run the same focus group again at the end of this year. I'll do 2 again. It's just brilliant. It's really, really nice that these people have trusted me with their ambitions for the year, because it's not always easy to just open up and say, actually, this is what I really want, and so far I'm failing at it. I need help. And so to be able to work with those people is brilliant. It's really good fun. I'm really honoured that they picked me, especially because they're colleagues of mine, they're accountants. So it's really nice for them to choose me to help them through it. So that's good. And then the future of Your Business, Your Rules, one of the next ones that I want to put out there is about financial literacy, because we have so many businesses starting. This podcast is all about startups, but the scary thing is that I think the stats are something like 50% of startups fail within 3 years. And it's not all down to the finances, but so much of it is down to the lack of understanding around what your business is doing. And that does come down to the numbers and being able to read them. And I'm not saying you need to learn how to put them together. You need to become an accountant to do it. It's just about understanding what that paper that you sign at the end of every year is actually telling you. Which bits do you need to look at that should be big red flags, and which bits are, a big thumbs up. It's just understanding what they mean for you. So the more I can give people that financial literacy, I would hope that, more businesses will flourish from it, or at least they'll be able to spot the warning signs earlier. So that's next for Your Business, Your Rules. And then in terms of the practice, it's about building the team. It's about finding more of those clients that I just want to give a big hug to. And just building it up and helping more local businesses succeed and grow it the way they want to. Got a lot of businesses out there that are working blind, really, because they're just running. They're just going and going and going. They've always done it. And I'd hope that I can get into more of those businesses and just help them actually read or translate the data for them so they can make better decisions, because some of them are working really, really hard and they know they're making sales, but there's no cash in the bank and they just can't figure it out, and there's a disconnect. And so I just want to help them figure out what that disconnect is.
The point that you made about them running it blind. So if we dive into that a little bit more. So the advice that I give when I work with clients is you need to have a good grasp of the feedback that you're getting from your customers or your clients, because that will be a good indication of whether there's the customer feels delighted that they've invested in your product or service, or that there might be feedback in there that will help you to just pivot a little bit, just to refine it so that it's more of a success. And then the numbers. So just very crudely speaking, if you as a business owner have a monthly finance meeting where you have reconciled all of your accounts, you've got all of your invoices that are sent out, you've got all your payments that have then been allocated, all of your expenses recorded, and then broken down into the categories of what they are. Because somebody who's just starting a business and they've just set up an Excel spreadsheet that just says expenses, it's very good practice to get into the realms of listing, well, what is that expense? Is it fuel? Is it rent? Is it salaries? Is it stationery? So that when you review that data, you can see where your largest expenses are coming from. So just wanted to elaborate on that a little bit, really, because going in blind means so many different things to different people.
Yeah,
It's totally subjective, isn't it? But I
it
think
is.
to just lead people down a path of confidence in terms of best practice. Get your feedback and don't be blind with your numbers. Have monthly, even micro meetings with yourself if you're a solo business owner. Just take that time for a couple of hours a month just to review your books, look at your profit and loss reports, and look at what that's telling you. Would you
Yeah,
agree?
yeah, I completely agree. And you've got startups that don't necessarily know that information is useful,
Yeah.
but you've also got big, well established businesses, and I've worked for some of them who have
Mhm.
monthly numbers, but they don't read them.
Wow. Okay.
It's a waste of money. It's a waste of money if you're not going to use them. So that the key to all of this is being able to read them and being able to understand them and what they're telling you. Because I agree, you've got to categorize and list down what every expense is for. And it sounds like a pain, but if you can track what you're spending your money on, I mean, straight away, one of the things you didn't say in that list was subscriptions.
Yeah.
Subscriptions are
Oh,
everywhere.
God, yeah.
And
Absolutely, yeah.
before you know it, you've suddenly signed up to, I don't know, 20 14-day free trials, and you're paying for half of them and you don't use any of them. And
Yeah.
it gets out of control and you wonder why there's no money in the bank. So a constant review of those things. And as a startup, a monthly one can be quite daunting. So if you
Mhm.
set yourself a quarterly target to say, okay, I'm
Yeah.
going to get myself up to date, I'll look at what I've spent money on, it's all going to help. All of it's going to help. Reviewing all of that will always make a difference.
The numbers side of a business, I love it. So I'm not in the camp of business owners who fear the numbers, because I feel much more in control with information that's black and white. You can't argue with it. It is what
Yeah.
it is, and it gives you direction and it gives you feedback of what's going well or what isn't going well. And I'm almost borderline obsessed with the finance side of the business. I think I'm extreme in the other sense, but I love it. I love numbers. I love working with software that tells you what the numbers are, that loves doing the calculations for you. It's invaluable. But I could go on about that all day.
The numbers tell the story of what's
Yeah.
happened and what's going on. So I've done various projects for various different clients and different managers who want to know different things. But I mean, one huge one that I did a while ago was about all of the projects this company did. And we were
Mhm.
just analysing them in a slightly different way, because initially everything was just in one big pot. And we thought, you know what, let's have a look at what each project is actually doing. And
Yeah.
when you look at it in a different way, you go, actually, that project is completely failing.
Yeah.
That one is really successful and it's got the lowest amount of costs in there. And
Yeah.
there's loads of things you don't see. If it's all just, here's a line of income, here's a line of costs, there's my profit.
Yeah.
There's loads you don't see. So that's where management accounting and strategic reviews and things like that really come into their own, because they pull the business apart and they
Yeah.
piece it back together in a different way and go, this is what it looks like from this angle. This is what it looks like from this angle. And
Yeah.
it's not only about the numbers then, it's about how can the systems be run better? How can things be made
Yeah.
more efficient? How can you use your people better? And
Yeah.
it's all about going internally, what are we doing? What can we change to make it better? What can we lose? What things are, dragging it down? And it's just that whole overview. Because
Yeah.
I will always say that I try not to moan about things that clients have done wrong or things that other people externally have done that I'm not happy with, it's okay, that's annoying, but what can I do internally to stop that from being a problem? It's like if someone's paying you too late, okay, what should I do internally to make them pay me quicker? Can I chase them a day earlier? Can I chase them a week earlier? Can I set them up on direct debits? There's loads of things you can do internally within your business to make it run better. So that's where I love the inner workings. I love the numbers, they tell the story. And then from that, it's how can we make this business generally just run better? That's the bit I get really excited about.
Yeah. So I would like to ask you for your tips then for startups. So ahead of our conversation today, you sent 5 to 6 over. So we've got finances for startups. So what are the key fundamentals that any startup needs to be aware of?
What are the key fundamentals that a startup needs? Understand the basics of your finances. So what I mean by that is, what is a profit and loss? What does it mean? What is a balance sheet? What does it mean? What's the difference between cash and profit? So there's some of the very basics that you just need to wrap your head around. Starting even earlier than that, separate your business spending to your personal spending. A business needs to be seen not as an extension to your personal wallet. It's as keep things separate. People think at the beginning that, oh, just leave it all in there, it's easier. I promise it is not easier. It is so much harder. You cannot see what your business is doing, whether it's working or not, if it's all just lumped in with all your shops to Asda and Sainsbury's and Next. You can't see it. So separate bank account. And if you're a sole trader, it does not need to be a paid for business bank account. It can just be a separate bank account. It can be free. If you're a limited company, you have to set up a bank account with a limited company name. So that's you have to do it anyway. But if you're a sole trader, absolutely separate your spending. Always spend money through the business account. And if you're saying right at day one you haven't got any money in there, then from your personal pot, put £100 in this business account and start spending from that. There's always a way to start. It's, know your numbers, separate your accounts, have regular reviews, make sure you look at what the business is doing. And then on a less practical side and more of just a business owner, advice to another business owner would be, don't listen to every bit of advice you get given. Drown out the noise, because
I like that.
You've got to drown out the noise. But it's like being a parent. When you first become a parent, how many tips and things do you get from everyone, and you suddenly feel like a failure because you haven't done it the same way they did? Again, it goes back to your business, your rules. So take the advice, listen to it, and throw away the bits that aren't relevant to you. You should never feel less than because someone else is doing something differently. A perfect example of this is when you and I first met. I met a lady at that event, and she was so excited when she came in to show off what she'd done with her startup. She was really, really excited. I saw her at the end of the day, and she was really flat and really disheartened. And I sort of went and had a chat with her to see what was going on. And she said, I've just been told that I need to post on social media every single day. And I'm not doing that. And it's not going to work anymore. I thought, I haven't got enough to say every day to post on social media. And she said she'd been doing it once a week and she thought she was doing really well. And so I told her she was doing really well. If it's working and if she can do it, she's doing really well. But that one piece of advice just knocked her. And it was really sad because it's not one size fits all. It doesn't work for everyone.
No, it doesn't.
So drown out the noise. And surround yourself with good people. And that's suppliers, customers, support, friends. Surround yourself with the people that are actually rooting for you and actually want to see you thrive. And anyone who's trying to bring you down, just leave them behind.
It's that they're all very, very, very sound pieces of advice. Carol, thank you. Can I include one other piece of advice that you shared at the event that we were at a few weeks ago? During your talk, you said you are not you, full stop. You said, you can always reinvent yourself. So if something's not working.
Absolutely. You're never stuck. And that's the way I see everything. You're never stuck. There have been certain things throughout my career that easily could have stopped me and said, oh, well, I give up. But no, you never stuck at all. If you're doing something, again, like the way I said, I was offering just that year-end service for a couple of years. And I was like, actually, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And this is how I'm going to change. You never stop. If you put something
Yeah.
in and you realize it's not working, go, how can I change it and start moving it on? You never stop.
Yeah. That piece of just that little comment in your talk, and I never forgot it. And it kind of like gave me a bit more of a oomph. I was like, oh, it's just so simple, but it's so true. And it,
It's
again, it
really not.
comes back to you, your rules.
Yeah, your business,
It
your
flows
rules. You can do what you
beautifully.
want.
Oh, well, ahead of our conversation, Carol, you kindly shared with me to pass on to all the listeners a link to a guide that was 10 steps to avoid for finances in startups.
Yeah.
I haven't worded that correctly. So it was
10 Modern Mistakes for Startups, I think it's called.
that was it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I built it last year and it was just, again, they are simple steps. They are just the 10 basic things that I think you should follow that will make things easier as a
Yeah.
startup. So yeah, I hope you find it useful and kind of break it down again after a few days, just to break it down a little bit more.
Yeah.
It really can be simple. I think that's the thing to get across. It really doesn't need to be complicated. You don't need to learn how to physically do the accounts. You just need to understand how to read them. And
Yeah.
if you don't, you reach out to someone who does and
Yeah.
allow them to help. So yeah.
And who's happy to help you as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I do run a get to know your numbers session as well with some people who aren't actually clients. They're just people who don't actually understand what they're doing with the numbers. Some of them have got their own accountant, but they just don't feel like they can ask them. And we just have an hour where we sit down with their own set of accounts and we pull it apart and say, actually, what does this mean to you? And it at least gives them the confidence to sit in front of their accountant and understand what they're saying to them. So
Yeah.
it's
Oh, that would
important.
be invaluable, that would, Carol. That's fantastic. So just going to wrap things up then now. So for GetLogical as a business, so what's next on the horizon?
So next for me is build up my team. I'm looking for another couple of team members at the moment, just to be able to offer that robust service that people need. I want to get into more businesses. I want to find more family businesses, more well-established businesses that are running some really old, outdated systems, and try and bring them back and show them just how much more efficient they could be with new systems and new automation and just generally better systems and processes. So yeah, I'm excited. We've got a lot of things going on internally. So yeah, it's looking forward to helping more businesses.
That's great. And finally, my last question. Lost my voice then. So finally, how would you want to be remembered, Carol?
I want to be remembered for helping people achieve their goals. I want to be remembered for someone who you knew you could rely on to give you a boost and help you, help drive you in the right direction. So yeah, I want to help
Beautiful.
support people.
Fantastic. Well, Carol, you've been a wonderful guest. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll catch up with you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been great. Speak to you soon.
Bye.